this is going to be very educational today. It's all about marijuana. I'm going to start just with the street names. Pot, weed, grass, 420. Never heard of that one. Ganja, dope. My mother says that. I've always wondered where that came from. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. This video is a continuation of last week's regarding cannabis. This industry is in its infancy, so we're really, these two know a lot about it. Viktor and James have really studied it. They've really got to know it. They know all the permitting process and everything. It's been very educational, so we really wanted to get them back in here today and continue our education on this, because I think a lot of landlords might need to really understand what they're getting into. So I think this is going to be very helpful. Thank you. Now, can you explain the difference in is there a different license for a grow facility, dispensary, or agriculture? Any of those licenses different? Or are they all under one license?
No, there's
you
actually
specify what you're going to do.
There's probably, I think, 6 different ones. So like with level 1, you need to get the M6 type license, and then level 2 is obviously a little bit harder, because then you have, like I mentioned, the volatile substances.
Those are for growing, or those
are for cultivation and manufacturing, like James touched on with like the with oils and everything. Right. I mean, you have people with PhDs in chemistry coming in to make sure butane levels are at the right level. So that at that more professional level, that's where you're going to see kind of the most, I would say, probably the most professionalism coming in, which is where we kind of want to focus on as well. So I mean, a lot of dispensaries, you're going to get a lot of pushback from council districts. Not everybody's going to want 5 dispensaries on their block, as compared
right.
to. But so you have distribution, level 1, manufacturing level 2, micro business, whether that's retail, storefront or not, and then you'll also have testing, laboratory. So I just toured with a lady who is looking to make just for like a testing laboratory area. Everything needs to be up to code by
sure.
On the federal level, and just like how you have with the FDA on alcohol and food and everything, there's going to need to be that stamp of approval and certification, saying this is when you come into a dispensary or buy online or however you want, that there's going to need to be that level of certification. So there's.
Okay. Have you seen, how many calls are you getting every week of people wanting to put in some cannabis related business? Are you getting a lot of calls right now? Has it stepped up since January?
It has, yeah. So, no pun intended, but you have to weed through a lot of the people, the rookies coming in, thinking that, because what the city's made is that you need to get the property first and then apply for the license. And what a lot of people aren't realizing is that the city is so backed up with license applications. And so they think that they can come in, hey, for a dispensary. Mm-hmm. It's just, cultivation is a little bit of a different story, but the path of most resistance, I would say, is just trying to lock down a space for a dispensary if you haven't already, if you're not part of that pre-ICO era or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think that.
And have they got a certain number of pockets around each county that they allow this stuff, or you can't just put it in anywhere? No,
you can't. A lot of them are in certain industrial zones, 600 to 800 feet buffer zone from a school. One dispensary can't be just right next door to another.
Right.
You can have 2 cultivation sites next to each other, but people are just a little bit leery about just the traffic of you don't want a dispensary across the street from an elementary school or a rehab clinic, or so. Yeah, you will get.
No, you dump the kids off. You got the day free.
Yeah, but there are those pockets like in Council District 2, 3, mm-hmm. 14. So, not to get into too much detail, but up in the valley, east and south of downtown, obviously Long Beach, with for cultivation sites. So, which creates a good opportunity actually for these certain districts that can bring in. Like a guy in Maywood just opened up one, and it's bringing in a lot of revenue for that for that
sure.
county. So
well, are they?
Sorry for that.
Are you finding the cannabis growers? Are they all willing to pay more for a property?
Yeah. So there is a certain contingency that you can set in place. What landlords are doing are saying, all right, well, here's what we'll do. We'll have you lock in this building at a certain ask rate for a current market rate. You're not going to be able to do any operations until you get the licenses and prove it, everything. And then once you come in, a lot of people are paying 2, 3, 4x ask rate just because they know how much revenue they're going to require. And that's where you do sift out a lot of people, because if landlords are pushing back, like, no, I'm not doing it unless it's 6 or 7 times, you're just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
okay, we're not going to get.
Yeah. Nowhere.
But yeah, you can, if
Is that on grow and dispensaries as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now that it's legal, I mean,
Right,
typically a landlord can expect to get a 30 to 40% premium over and above whatever the going market rate would be for their property if it was going to be just a standard retail 7-Eleven type
So
store.
this would be pretty appealing to a landlord.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Right.
You know, you go to a landlord and you say, well, now that it's straight up legal and there's no more stigma and it's all, you know, the pressure's off and you don't have to worry about the so-called illegalities, why don't you reconsider?
Mhm.
And, you know, considering the fact that the lease comps for a building that, you know, like yours, your similar size, whatnot, is maybe $5 a square foot. We have, you know, cannabis business related tenants who are willing to pay $8 a foot for the same exact space. You know,
Right.
why wouldn't you take advantage of that, lock that in now for, you know, a long term, and that way if the market does reverse and prices start to go down, you have someone in there who's locked in well above the peak price per square foot before
Right.
the prices turn around, and you're going to continue to receive that money. And some of these guys are making $400,000 or $500,000 a week. It's not like they're gonna not pay. I mean, they have the means to pay. They are going to take care of the property. It's highly secure. They have their own security and video surveillance and stuff like that, because of the sheer value of the product, and typically they have lots of cash on hand because a lot of these guys are either banking with cryptocurrencies or they're banking through private entities, or maybe they got lucky and they have a credit union that's willing to take their deposits.
Because that was a problem before, right?
It's still a problem, but I think that's
But
going to
it's-
resolve itself
isn't
now that
Wells-
most of the states are legalizing.
Isn't Wells Fargo starting to take?
Wells Fargo right now has a program where they, only in California,
Okay.
certain Wells Fargo branches are being converted into the Wells Fargo California NA, which will then allow those branches only to take the large cash deposits from people with a cannabis business, whether it's
I would
dispensary,
think that's going to catch
manufacturer.
on then. So, and credit unions, right? Credit unions are
Well,
allowing it.
credit unions kind of always had the ability to do it. I think they just followed the big banks' lead by not
Sure.
allowing it. However, the smaller the credit union and the fewer the members, the more likely it is that a member with a large net worth is going to be able to kind of hijack the bank and say, I need to bank,
Right.
and I need you guys to do it, and here's $5 million or whatever, which is
Right.
probably twice what the entire bank has on deposit at any one time for
Right.
a small credit union. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Obviously, landlords don't want to get burned. They don't want the feds coming in and seizing their property, seizing all the rent that they got from the tenant in cash or however they collected it. The longevity in this is going to be the creativity in the lease structure. So making sure that the landlord is protected and having that kind of symbiotic relationship, that middle ground between the tenant and the landlord. So,
You know, I've got a question for. Are you finding it's mostly individuals coming to you now, or I don't know who the big players are. I know about what MedMin or
yeah.
something like that. Those bigger companies. Who are the people that are contacting you the most at this point?
A lot of tenants. Yeah.
A lot of small,
potential tenants, right?
Yeah.
Kind of that micro
not the big
business
guys.
under
Okay.
10,000 square feet. I have a couple clients who are looking for the bigger cultivations down in Long Beach,
Okay.
the 20,000 square foot warehouse. But our sweet spot is kind of that. We got a guy who has 3 dispensaries, has a microbrewery in Texas, and he's coming out here. He sees the opportunity. And he wants to open up that same kind of vibe where you go and you get just a microbrew, hang out at the bar there,
Sure.
and that experiential kind of lifestyle or that kind of retail and concept is only going to grow here, I think. So
Okay. Very good. Well, this has been very informative. It seems like there's a lot of opportunity for landlords.
yeah,
Sounds like to me. I mean, if you want to make extra money, you know, you should. This is an avenue that you could really take a look at. So, anything else, guys?
putting in them?
No, I mean, at least, yeah, just having our landlords, a lot of people don't want to do this initial, this upfront legwork of just calling on owners, asking if,
Right.
what you think about it, set up an appointment with them, seeing, explore the idea at least, and just kind of, just playing with the idea. Here's what you can make with cannabis, a tenant, and here's what you make at the current market rate, and
Okay.
here's what you would need to do in order to get that cannabis client, in order to, make sure that you have enough protection from feds coming in to, because what, like you mentioned earlier, what the feds are going to make a point of it by people who are non-compliant. So,
Right.
but the MedMen, I mean, they're all systems go. They're only going up from here. So
There's got to be a good
there's-
number of those companies out there, right?
Yeah.
I don't. That's the only one I know.
Right, and it's only a matter of time before the the Nabiscos come in and they
Right.
start making edibles and have cultivation centers once they get the green light. And after that, it's too late. You'll get all these brokerage firms saying they got their cannabis team and ready.
Yeah.
But we're the feisty ones. We're coming in now. While the dust hasn't settled yet, and so we're going to be at the forefront of this thing.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. They're feisty. So make sure you reach out to them. We'll put the links below. Thank you for tuning in.